coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, mid-Missouri is shaking off another round of winter weather. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Taylor Freeman.
And I'm John Murphy. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We've got team coverage around mid-Missouri, tracking the weather and the road conditions. But first, let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Matt Beckwith with the latest on our forecast. Matt?
Yeah, John and Taylor, things are pretty quiet. We saw the snow move through this morning, but then a really big dry slot moved in, and that kept things very limited to just a few more snow showers this afternoon. That was very patchy. I showed you this graphic last night because last night we brought down the numbers in our forecast because the system was looking unorganized, it had less moisture, and it was moving faster. And it had even less moisture than what we were thinking last night when we backed off a little bit. So total snowfall of about 1.5 inches in Columbia. We'll see at the 6 o'clock update if we got enough to push us a little bit higher, but definitely under 2 inches in Columbia. So not too many problems out on the roadways right now. It is chilly though. 27 in Columbia, 31 in Jefferson City. Look out to the west towards Kansas City where it's 15 degrees. That's a sign of what's to come as temperatures drop quite a bit tonight. Feeling like 17 in Columbia, 14 in Moberly. The wind is a factor for us, and there are still some patches of reduced visibility out there. In terms of current road conditions, clear to mostly clear for much of the region, but there are some sneaky icy patches out there. And as we head into the overnight hours and temperatures drop to the single digits, wind chills near -5, we're going to continue to see the potential for some icy spots. Anything that's wet has the potential to refreeze overnight. We sent meteorologist Kesley Cabellis out in Storm Patrol 8. Kesley, how are the roads looking?
Yeah, overall the roads have been looking pretty decent, seeing lots of dry spots on the road. A couple of those slushy spots that you've been mentioning, we've been kind of trying to drive around a bit of a mix of the roads between some of those major roads across across Columbia, and now we're starting to travel down more of some residential roads. So let me go ahead and flip the camera around here so that you can see what we're talking about. So as we're continuing to drive on residential roads, we're currently in the Rothwell Heights neighborhood on Rothwell Drive, kind of on the western side of Columbia. Looks like we're headed towards West Broadway too. I think we'll go ahead and take a right here up at this stop sign and kind of look more at some more of those major roads across mid-Missouri. But overall, you can tell that there's a lot of dry spots on the roads. The road itself is wet, but there is no major slushy spots on the roadways. And so overall, we're looking pretty good in terms of how road conditions are going. Like Matt said, the temperatures have been pretty warm, so road treatment is going to be very effective through the rest of this evening. I'll have another look at road conditions coming up here in just a bit. But for now, I'm meteorologist Kesley Cabellis live in Storm Patrol 8.
All right, thank you, Kesley. The Missouri Department of Transportation worked all morning and afternoon to get those major routes cleared.
KOMU 8's Monica Johnson is live in Columbia to show us what those conditions are looking like now. Monica.
I'm here off Highway 63 in Columbia, and as you can see, the roads are looking pretty clear. But Missouri State Highway Patrol Troop F, which covers mid-Missouri, said they responded to 21 crashes and 13 stranded motorists today. One of those crashes, at least one, was deemed to be fatal. Now, MoDOT sent crews out ahead of time, pre-treating the roads, and worked throughout the day to get traffic flowing like it is now. The department clears roads in order of the amount of people who drive on them. That's why they prioritize highways and numbered routes. Some small roads that MoDOT does not have the time to reach remain covered in snow. The department has dealt with low snowplow staff ever since the pandemic, but I spoke to a district maintenance engineer. He says that was not a major issue today.
Available person out in a truck to treat everything and to get our roads addressed and cleaned up. You know, in these instances where we don't have as much staff, we're still going to get there. It may just take us a little longer, but we're really in a much, much better situation now than we were last year.
MoDOT plans to keep clearing roads tonight and into tomorrow. Live in Columbia, Monica Johnson, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Monica. A 3-year-old girl is dead after a crash in Holt Summit this morning. The Holt Summit Police Department responded to the fatal rollover crash around 7 this morning. Police say the young girl was found pinned beneath the vehicle and died at the scene. A crash report from the Missouri State Highway Patrol says the car was driven by a 29-year-old man, and another child was in the car but was not injured. The crash report says no one in the vehicle was wearing a seatbelt. Missouri State Highway Patrol released initial numbers of incidents it responded to. MSHP Troop F says between midnight and 2 p.m. today, they handled 44 calls for service. 13 of those were for stranded motorists, 17 for non-injury crashes. Troop F responded to 3 injury crashes, one of them being fatal.
Columbia Public Schools is one of many districts across mid-Missouri that closed for today's snowfall. CPS used Alternative Method of Instruction, or AMI, for the 5th time this year. AMI instruction provides students with packets so they can complete different assignments and activities based on their grade level. KMU8's Abigail Klinkerman is here to show us what these days look like for students. Abigail?
Yeah, so these pictures behind me are from a packet that was sent home to 2nd graders with activities such as scavenger hunts you can do indoors or an exercise plan based on the spelling of your name. The Department of Secondary and Elementary Education says school districts are allowed up to 36 hours of AMI instruction per year with packets just like these. But how those hours are divided between days is unclear. No one at CPS is tracking how many hours students are actually participating in AMI activities. The district believes the law allows AMI days to be used like an early release day, meaning about 4 hours are used per day. This would allow up for 9 days of remote instruction. But if the AMI days count for a full day of instruction, the district only has 6. Either way, we don't know what happens when the district runs out of them. One CPS official says they won't make a decision until they get clarification from DESE.
We want to have clarity and we want to have absolute confirmation. And as we're getting close to our 6th date, obviously becomes critical for us to ultimately know the answer to that. So we are pursuing that answer on a daily basis.
If the district uses up all 36 AMI instruction hours, it prefers not to extend the school year.
Our preference is to not add days to the end of the calendar. Again, as I mentioned, it's disruptive to families and to other, community events and things like that.
But again, that district official says a decision cannot be made until they hear back from DESE. A survey was sent out to families in mid-January to gather feedback about AMI instruction. That same official says its results are being taken into account to better the program. In the studio, Abigail Klinkerman, KMU8 News.
All right, thank you, Abigail. Remember, you can get the latest updates from our weather team directly on your phone. Just scan the QR code on your screen to download the KOMU8 weather app. It's available for free on the Apple and Google app stores. And don't forget to turn on notifications.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was in Brussels today. His call to action to NATO members coming up.
But first, why some businesses in Columbia decided to open today, even during the snow.
And winds are going to be picking up through the evening. That brings us wind chills below 0 tomorrow morning. We're tracking the cold and our next storm system in my first alert forecast.
But first, take a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport. This is KOMU8 News at 5, coverage you can count on.